Welcome to the Sunday afternoon version of the Simpademic. This is Jason, and I'm here with a little bit of a different twist again, as usual. And that twist is I'm kind of one of the guilty parties lately, and I'll tell you what's going on here. So there is a gal out there on the Twitter X platform. Her name is Sherry, Sheree, and I've come into her online, and here's the 411. She's absolutely gorgeous, and she's a teacher in Houston. And other than being what I would think would be a 10, and being a teacher, the real thing for me is this: she has started the path to sobriety, and Sherry started it about 3 weeks ago now. And I am the son of an alcoholic father. I grew up in that region, and I had an alcoholic father who made, and a stepmother in turn who he enabled, made life very, very difficult for me. And the step siblings always got special treatment over me. And so to see anybody at all pursue this path, I'm going to cheer them on all the way. Has nothing to do that part of it has nothing to do with her looks. However, you combine everything and she just seems like the total package. Yes, I know she has 2 children, but they're older. Actually, I think it's 3. But I know of the 2 oldest for sure, closer in age to my own daughter, who's 19. And that's one situation where, I mean, they say that you don't want to play another man's saved game. However, in this case, I don't think I would be expected to play that role. And we're talking about a saved game that's basically at the finish line anyway. So that's a little bit of a different deal. Now, if we're talking about younger children, that's a completely different story, because I am the survivor of a traumatic brain injury, as I've said over and over again. I wouldn't have the energy for that at this point, particularly at age 52. And our commonality is our joint fandom of a baseball team, the Houston Astros, because I grew up rooting for that team, and they're still a part of my background. Even though that difficult childhood happened, I still have some things to remember about that team. I wrote a letter to the team when I was 10 years old, and I got it back signed by everybody on the roster. Wish I had kept that letter still, because it had some valuable names on it, particularly Nolan Ryan's. And yet at the same time, that was a very valuable thing for me. The other thing is that when Nolan Ryan threw his 5th no-hitter, my dad and I, we missed that game by 1 day. We went 1 day earlier before he started and threw no-hitter number 5 of his career. And so I had some interesting commonalities with her later, along the way. We both have a heart for the same baseball team, and I have a heart for people who commit to and pursue the very difficult path of sobriety. I'm not entirely sober myself. I personally drink very rarely, by the way. And I don't drink for the purpose of getting drunk. I drink because I happen to be somebody who likes the flavors of bourbon. And that's pretty much it. But at the same time, she's absolutely gorgeous. And I admire the courage, persistence, and willingness to commit to that very difficult journey, because I watched my own dad go through it from a distance. He's been sober now since I was 18 years old, so we're closing in on 25 years in his case. But my crush and admiration for this lady, I haven't crossed in the simp category, and here's why. I'm not sitting in her DMs every day. I'm not sitting there trying to communicate every day. I'm not sitting there insisting that she absolutely has to like me. I've never even really approached the idea, because of the physical distance between here on the outer fringes of the Twin Cities metro area and the Houston area. And of course, I grew up at the time. Katy was basically the fringe of the Houston metro area. Now it's not, but nonetheless, because of that distance, because of all that, practicality has spoken to me in that particular case. And I'm not going to sit there and try to put myself out there for somebody who's, over 1,000 miles away from me. I have to admit that an attraction is there, but I'm not going to be dead set on forcing somebody or convincing somebody to like me just because I do. Simping is trying to change and control what you cannot. And from a practical standpoint, that distance would make pursuing something like that fairly expensive monetarily for me. I mean, I do decently for myself, but I'm not going to go out of my way to spend hundreds of dollars every month on a back and forth. And I'm not entirely sure she reciprocates. I've not seen anything that indicates that she would. So I don't press or play that particular game. I don't lavish her with attention. I think she knows I very much appreciate her and what she gives. And it's not like a extensive back and forth, but I'm not expecting that at this point. Simps are people who will push and expect that type of thing. And I'm smart enough to know I've not crossed that line. I'm smart enough to know not to cross it. So anyway, that's my story. It's what you do with somebody who, you have an attraction to. And when the attraction is beyond just simple looks, just manage it with reality. Manage it with expectations that are realistic. And that is how you keep yourself from crossing that border. Because women don't respect simps. They don't reciprocate. And if you're trying to force them to, you're going about it very wrong. So that's my story. I'm sticking by it. And this is Jason with End the Simpademic. I am signing off here for this Sunday afternoon. Going back to some football here. And I will be seeing you guys all tomorrow for the Monday night version. Cheers.